Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be looking at another Rapido Trains Titfield Thunderbolt product. This time it's the Titfield Thunderbolt buffet car, which is obviously made from a Wisbech and Upwell tramway car. This model was specifically produced by Rapido in association with Studio Canal for their Titfield Thunderbolt set. I've obviously reviewed the Thunderbolt set in a previous video. So as you can see, it's brand new. Literally picked it up today. These retail at £67.50, I think I paid for mine. Which, let's have a look and see if the coach warrants that quite high price tag. So like I said, you can see mine is still sealed and this has never been opened before. Comes in the usual very nice sturdy Rapido Trains box. And opening it up, and there it is. Now what a beautiful looking model. What a beautiful looking model. The colours on it actually suit this coach rather well. Now it was painted quite bright colours for the Technicolor film cameras of the time. When they filmed the Titfield Thunderbolt in 1952. It was the first, I believe it was the first Ealing comedy to be shot in colour. Hence why Lion and Dan's House and the tram car had a very bright livery. So removing the normal clamshell from the box, there's a little owner's manual at the bottom. These are always good to read. I do like reading these. There are some little jokes embedded in the text, but there's a way there to show you how to fit the gas tanks, the couplers, and also the roof is removable. So I have been told though that is quite difficult, so we'll have a look at how easy that is. So there's obviously some optional parts with this. So let's have a look at the model itself. I'll set that aside, and it comes in the usual clamshell packaging. I have just noticed a problem with this model, but we'll come to that in a moment. It's not a big deal. But removing the outer sleeve, there's your detail. Whoops, there's your detail bag with the gas tanks and the pipe work, as we've just seen. And then the main attraction is in this clamshell box, and there is the Wisbech and Upwell tram car and buffet car from the film The Titfield Thunderbolt. Now I've just noticed there that there's already a gas tank which is loose in the box. So where has that come from? That has come from there, and you can see one of the lugs has snapped in shipment, but it is only one of the lugs. The other three are present. So I will look at fixing that back on later. I'll need some tweezers. But just look at that. I mean, apart from that breaking off in transit, which, yes, it is a little bit poor, but I do know Rapido don't use a great deal of glue as to not spoil their models. So it's not, you know, personally, a gas tank falling off that I can easily reattach doesn't bother me as much as, say, if there was a blemish in the paintwork or something. But look at that. And can anybody spot the other error? There it is. The NEM coupler has been put in upside down on one end, which again is no massive deal, is it? I mean, I can just pull that out, but that is quite funny. That must have been, and it's always typical. Why do I get these models with these little blemishes? But that must have been a Friday afternoon job in the factory. So I'll gently pull that out, if it will pull out. That is quite a stiff. No, that's not coming out of there easily. I might have to. Oh, there we go. That was a little bit stiff. There you go. 10-second job, and it's the right way around. One thing I did notice in the instructions: do not pick the model up by the ends. It says pick it up by the middle. The ends are extremely fine. Look at the veranda and the metalwork on there. Obviously they're plastic handrails, but that is just amazing. I really do like the detail on that. The buffet car for Mr. Valentine. And personally, I think this livery actually suits these coaches very well. The buffer beam on the end looks to be quite high up the body, which indeed it was on the prototype. These were tramway cars, and you can see in the film, I may insert a picture here, but you can see in the film that the tram car sits lower than everything else. Now, as I said, the roof is removable, and Rapido have put a video on their own channel, which I'll link in the description, on how to remove that roof. That looks pretty tight on there, and I don't have a prizing tool, but I do have some cocktail sticks. But what I'll do, before I try and take the roof off and potentially break this on camera, let's give it a quick roll test on a piece of track. Oh yeah, that is beautifully free running. Look at that, that doesn't take anything. In fact, if I hold that still, it only takes a slight knock and it just rolls away without. That is beautifully free running. So before I try and take the roof off, let's have a look at the underside detail. As I said, you've got the gas tanks on the end there, one of which obviously I've mentioned mine has snapped off, but that's no big deal for me. The wheels are set in these nicely moulded bogies. There's actually details on the wheel fronts, rivet details, brake rigging, another gas tank there. But overall, I am really impressed with that. I mean, it's relatively heavy for its size, and it's a rather nice looking model. The roof vents are all nice. The paintwork has got a lovely satin sheen to it. Now you can see through the windows the bar there. So I will now attempt to take the roof off. But I have been told that it is a rather difficult affair, so I may cut to when I've got it off. But I will show you the methods I use to get it off. Right, so getting a coffee stirrer, what I did was I chamfered the edge there and managed to prise the roof off. And when I did so, the handrails actually came adrift inside. So they'll need to be reattached with a very small spot of PVA glue. But inside the model, the detail is phenomenal. You have the bench seats, painted in the body colour as per the prototype, and Mr. Valentine's bar with the cask on the bar there. The other thing I've noticed is these are very fragile. These come off when the roof's off. If you're not careful, you can remove them. Only from one end. So again, I think it's nothing bad. It's just the lack of glue that Rapido use, because they are so worried about the model getting glue film on it. But yeah, so you've got the cask on the bar, which looks to be about ½ an inch lower than the grasshopper. And the drinks cabinet. Use a cocktail and the drinks cabinet at the back there. You've got the handrails on the top, the divider there, and also one thing I noticed as well, these end plates here, these are actually hinged, so you can fold them over, and that was a way of when the coaches were actually on the tramway, they connected the coaches together with a walkway, but that is actually hinged. I mean, that is tiny. I mean, look at it, to the edge of a cocktail stick, and yet that is hinged. The buffers aren't sprung. I'm not too fussed about that, if I'm honest. But the roof was a very, very tight fit. There are representations of the lights, and there's a representation of the lighting conduit, which is a separately fitted piece of wire. So that's the inside of the model. What I will do is I'm going to put a very, very tiny amount of glue back on those and just stick that back in place. I know there'll be people watching this saying you shouldn't have to do that in a model. But let's be honest, guys, these models have been made in China. They've come 3/4 of the way around the world to get to my workbench. Not only that, they've come off the ship. They've been loaded onto lorries, into vans, into warehouses, to Trains for You, where I bought mine from. And I've had it in the car all the way here. I don't, you know, things are going to get knocked. You're not, you know, it's not going to be a faultless delivery system, and there are going to be occasions where the odd one is going to suffer the odd loose glue joint. So I don't personally think that's an issue. I know a lot of people comment, oh yeah, it is an issue, but it's not really in the long run. But yeah, that is the Wisbech and Upwell Titfield tram car. I probably won't fit figures to it because you can't really see it. They've even got, sorry to go off on a tangent, they've even got Mr. Valentine's chair in the corner there. So every detail has been accounted for. The roof interior detail shows the planking. There is a slight bit of frosting from glue there from where the roof vents have been in. But all in all, this is looking to be yet another fantastic model from Rapido Trains. One other detail I meant to mention, and I missed, was the fact that the handholds, when they focus, you can see there they are actually looped mouldings, and that is plastic. Now the intricacy of that is phenomenal, because you can see it's two pieces. That would be very easy for Rapido to cast that as a solid piece, but it's actually got the holes for hand grips in there, and there's no need to glue those two in place, as the roof actually holds those in to position. The only thing I've got to add a small amount of glue to is these little pins here, and you can see at the end of my fingernail there the glue mark from the factory. So they do use very, very small amounts of glue to hold these models together, which is a good thing, because then there's no overspill of glue. I mean, yeah, okay, some bits do work loose, but it could be a lot worse. There could be splurges of glue all over the thing. So there you have it, Rapido's Titfield Thunderbolt Wisbech and Upwell buffet car. You can see that it actually sits a lot lower than the towed brake van. This is entirely prototypical. It looks almost akin to running a HO gauge coach, but this was a tram car that ran between Wisbech and Upwell. And it is another superb item from Rapido. They never fail to disappoint. Yeah, there was a couple of things that were loose, but nothing that's going to detract from this. And it's another holy grail model, another model on my lap that I never thought would exist in ready to run form. So yeah, brilliant. You can see just the detail as you go along. It is a fantastic item of rolling stock. They are selling very fast, so if you want one, I'd get down to your local shop and snap one up before they disappear. All we need now, if Rapido, if you are watching, we need a 14XX. There's no getting away from that now at all. We need a 14XX tank to modern standards. My money would be on, I'd hope that Rapido would do one, as judging by the quality of everything else they've made, it will be an absolutely fantastic model. But that's for another time. This was a short review, short look at the Wisbech and Upwell buffet car from the Titfield Thunderbolt. And I hope you all agree it is an absolutely outstanding model.